Well, here we are again. As always, we're going to ask, what do we need to know? This is Ellen Marie Francisco. Thanks for coming onto my channel. It's time to do a little bit of tarot and energy read on the influences coming up this week that we need to be aware of so we can shine. All right. Let's start with this week. We just had a full moon, a super moon, or the Fool card. The Fool is the beginning of the tarot and our journey. Without the God, force, energy, goddess, mother, possibilities, you could not be born into this world. You could not be here. This is a really nurturing card. We're going to be working on our faith. If this is coming in as our center card for this week. So what faith have you built in the universal flow of energies around you? Are you working in tandem? Have you enough faith that you can walk forward into the unknown, into your new path, into your new light? Yeah, there's a lot of surrender that comes with this kind of trust and faith, and also a lot of heart, a lot of open-hearted self-communion. You are part of the maker. The maker is part of you. It's crossing us. The high priestess upside down. Look what's going on here. You're coming in as true nature at your core. Like the essence of who you are is everything in here. Being crossed with the high priestess. We're being asked to go with the flow here, to surrender to the universal flow. You know, there's so much of our lives that are way bigger than us, you know, as much as we think we're in control, as much as we think we're pioneering and authoring our own destiny. There's a lot of the God force that comes with us, slowly, quietly embedded into the purity of who we are. And then sometimes it just comes out. It's just got to come right out. It's got to come into the flow of time, into universal time. All right. So, and then we've got Magician. It's in a support position. So for sure, we're going to have to just trust and go with flow. That's how we're entering this week. With Magician, you know how well the Magician does. The Magician does very well when it's taking care of itself. So if you're acting in faith and going with the flow, it is pretty much ripe for magic at that rate. A lot of possibility, I feel like the new beginning is springing up for a lot of people too. A lot of things coming forward, finally, up out of nowhere, seemingly, but part of the plan all along. Now, let's see. As this builds in, we've also got the sun and the moon and the star and the tower and the devil and temperance and the page. Wow. All right. So, well, these are all really spiritual energies, first of all, a lot of them coming forward. The Magician springboarding our possibilities because we got the energy right and faith right, and we were willing to go with the flow. You know, we can't be blinded by the light. I think that we're being activated. A lot of us are being really activated right now through the third eye channels and kaboom. So we're kind of off the charts as far as our own development and our own possibilities. So I think this is even beyond a breakthrough. This is almost like I'm just reading it as just a lot of knowing coming very quickly. A lot of knowing without understanding where the knowing came from. Could be coming from just any level of awareness, honestly. any level of awareness that is aware, the sun and the moon. So a lot of polar opposites, a lot of energies running underneath the surface, coming out. We had been warned about this before. There's always something kind of repressed that needs to be expressed. And when we get hit with so much light, it's normal that a lot of other things underneath the surface are getting churned up and out. I don't feel like it's as painful as the last few weeks, but I do feel like I guess it would depend on how comfortable you are with all these new knowings that are hitting. There's a lot of things that are just hitting as, oh gosh, you can't really ignore them, any of the signs or any of the situational happenings in the star energy, sun, moon, and star. Sometimes there's a lot of recognition too. This is like a lot of spiritual recognition. And then, of course, all right, let's break this down quietly. The star energy is in our gateway. So this is one of the most important cards we have to be aware of. We're being called upon. So here's what I think is happening. I think a lot of the truest path that we were ever to have is in play right now. I think we were all working up towards that in these last number of months, almost like I think the whole year and beyond, working towards this point where we could, in our core essence, in our more soulful authenticity, in our more comfortable discomfort of standing in the true light of who we are, is really where we are right now. So your ability to do that comfortably is going to have an effect on how all the rest of it goes. Again, if we're being crossed with the high priestess, we're being asked to go with the flow. We're being asked to surrender, because there are things that we need to do with our faith during this point. If there is a lot of faith already, if you've already built the foundation where you know how this goes, when spirit calls more forth from you, you're willing to work the energies are going to bring you back multitudes of thanks and possibilities for this next leg of the journey. The knowingness that is coming in is going to be helpful. So don't begrudge the knowing that hits you. You know what I mean? You've been working up to this for a while already. Stand comfortably in the new light, stand comfortably in the quietude that will bring you, and the peace that promises as a result. The moon, having been the super moon that we're still under the influence of, we're only a few days into that, is showing us that the things that we're seeing, the things that we suddenly know, the aha moments, and those kind of breakthroughs that are possible with this kind of energy, is also kind of rinsing off the toxicity of all the misaligned meanderings. I guess it's almost like we're doing a major last moment toxic purge. So you may feel like, who knows what you're going to feel like doing on a body level, but that's, I feel like, the energy that we're doing. It's like it's hit the physical now, and it's detoxing through the physical, even though it's hitting the third eye with the sun and the light and the activation codes, and maybe even the crown chakra, I guess, some of us, but I think it's mostly coming in right through the third eye, dead center. And there's also that sense, I felt like a lot of us were in more dimensional states and more aware of our spirit guides and our ancestors and all the invisible beings. So I feel like there's rewards for that. I think those of us who are tuned into that will start to see that this sort of pay forward payback kind of thing that the universe does to reward the work. So somehow we're being called out. We're being recognized utilized in the right ways, maybe not in the mundane aspects of the world, but it could be possible too, because some of us are so into some of us, yeah, some of us, the careers that we have are kind of tuned into these energies anyway, right? Like our soul work is our career. So we would be at our true essence in our workplace. So I think that there's a lot of room for advancement and recognition in that sense is what I'm being shown here. Like the cream is rising to the top. The cream of the crop is kind of the stuff we're getting into now, cream of the crop stuff, not really the drudgery. So if you feel like you're still detoxing some of the old world and the underworld and the who knew that could be the world, ugly stuff, just bear with it. There's too many other helpful forces and situations that are going to happen to show that you're not off track, really, not off track at all. So yeah, shine bright, shine bright, shine bright. I guess this is the thing that I was thinking about earlier. And, sometimes the reading starts as I'm getting ready for the day because I have these little spirit guide and higher self kind of conversations inside my own head, which is kind of better and healthier than, speaking negatively all day long about the things I have no control over. So I was feeling into how, the only real way to get through any of this, the whole point of us being here in a body on this earth plane, even having a spiritual opportunity to work through things is because, Maker brought us here to begin with. And the point is that that's what we need to marry to. That's what we need to be more aware of than anything is what is at a very natural, basic bottom level baseline. What is it that we are? Who is it that we are? What is it that we need? How are we going to provide it for ourselves and nourish ourselves forward with it, with open hearts and open minds? Hopefully, the promise of the recognition, the reward, the payoff to coming in and being willing to walk every moment. I mean, it's one thing to do this privately in your own home and away from the busy world, another to take it into the world in every step, where you can only be your authentic self. You can only be who you are rather than indoctrinated and poisoned, toxified by the external underworlds. You're making a choice here that you must stay true to your essence. You must stay true to these parts of yourselves that are at the core your truest self and the point of why you're here, right? Like you don't come here to be your unessence. You come here to be your essence and to live it in the world in a way that helps you and those around you. Not that you're necessarily here to help everybody, but you may be. But regardless, the point is you are your essence. You are here to be you. So before all the overlays happen, before all the add-ons and the check boxes of what else you want to be, remember who you are at the core. That's what needs to move forward into this week, into next week, into all the months that follow. And this union of forces, you're a living organic being in, running multidimensional timelines in a myriad of ways, and you've come from a myriad of other ways and possibilities, and you're going forward into even more with the kind of magician energy coming forward. So drink plenty of fluids. You're going to need them. And if you know, if you're in that flow of your core energies, I mean, maybe some of your spiritual practice is to not let the outside world take you off your focus or take you off your course, you know. Shine bright like a diamond. The Tower card beyond our doorway to the future, which is the star energy and the reward energy. Also, you know, sometimes when I feel into what this card reminds me of creation energy anyway. So I feel like how much easier are you able to create things when you have a clear connection to yourself? You know, like you know the difference of when you're really connected and in your groove and when you're not. I mean, this is begging for the presence and the understanding that you, in so many ways, are already there. You are already enlightened, you know, working with some of the light and dark energies. Like you may be better at being light in the dark world, you know, where maybe you didn't let your light be seen anyway. But this is the point, I guess, about the times, the sign of the times that we're in. You have a responsibility to allow your light to work in the world because your essence is of the light. So maybe not hide off so much, maybe not. I mean, there are times where we need to reserve our energy and conserve our energy for certain things. I don't think we need to, I think the point is we're getting into some kind of an action plan here. We've sort of been incubating for a couple months, being pulled into some of the darker energies that needed to clear anyway, you know, all the unused stuff that you hadn't quite said goodbye to before. That kind of stuff is moving through here. And the last cards that we had here. Well, the Tower card, you know, I mean, moving. I remember feeling like a lot of us were going through moving like symptoms, whether it was real places that we were moving to and from, or moving through such foundations of, I don't know, like all the misaligned stuff that, again, wasn't really ours to bring into full fruition. That might have just been all the temporary stuff that we needed to learn. You know, sometimes spirit just has a short message for us. It doesn't need to be dragged out for years. So there may be a lot of really short sort of cycles that are ending. You know, something started, ended really quickly, thought it was going to be longer, but it wasn't. It's like, you know, that kind of stuff related to move in, to move out, and cities. I almost feel like, yeah, plans get delayed, or I thought I was going to move there, going to do a cross country this, and then it didn't go, and that kind of stuff. It almost feels like the timing around moving, any kind of physical moving, is odd somehow with this energy. And then the other parts, those of us who aren't actually moving, there's still something moving through your body belief space where you know your consciousness is being shifted because suddenly you have had aha moments. So if you're sort of had a more of a kind of a spiritual awakening layer in the last few weeks, you know, or feel like you're being inundated with new energies that you're still processing, then this could be related to how you're metabolizing that and using it for your own benefit, or coming more comfortably into, you know, balancing out that energies. Because we do have the Temperance card right after that. And, yeah, so integration of some of the cosmic light stuff that hits our bodies, you know, and our affects our souls. You know, it's can take a lot out of you. Can take a lot out of you. So if your mind is changing because of things that you suddenly know from outer sources, or, you know, universal sources that are working through your system, then I would say go with that flow too. I mean, you have to. There, you know, like this is the inevitable part of the week coming up, is having to go with the flow. So don't be too demanding, I guess, unless be sovereign to yourself, be in your core essence, be true to you. It doesn't have to be dramatic, it just has to take place. And working with the devil energy. So I think that we have, in the last number of months, worked through some of our ally versus foe energies. We have a better idea of who's in our corner and why, and what the manipulations were and why, and if we manipulated anything and why, and on and on and on. So there would have been some kind of self introspection, I think, with some of this moon. Oh, yeah, I guess that's the point, is the super moon. This is where I'm really feeling the super moon energy that we just went through. Yeah, there's some really, underworld kind of energies here, dark world energies that are trying to clear, I guess, off the planet, and they need an out. Sometimes those forces have to work through, the humans on its landscape. So I kind of feel like, yeah, I mean, these are dark times in a lot of ways. Um, So I think in some ways I kind of feel like the gap growing between, people who are willing to kind of be enlightened by the light forces and to be activated into new parts of themselves so they can shine in new light and bring forth the magic of all that they are. These are the choices, high road, low road kind of a deal. But regardless, cleansing cycles do require dipping back into the lower energy sometimes. That's why sometimes, you can eat a really clean diet and do really, really well. And suddenly you're going for ice cream and chocolate at midnight because something's working through you on a consciousness level that you just have to get to, and if something's moving through you and your consciousness is trying to change, then for sure, you're going to need to address God knows what. Like you could be addressing a lot of things. In fact, micromanaging the sticky stuff all week, basically. I think that's it. Undoing some of the tendrils of the things that you don't want around you, cleaning up the energies. Because if you have had that, I have seen the light moment, then your behavior also would have to match the new consciousness coming in. You're right. You may have to go into the old consciousness to deal, the lower base consciousness to deal with some of this stuff, and then come out of it. I think that's why I'm seeing the Temperance card and the page kind of surrounding these influences here, because we do have to have a newness of spirit in a way, and like be our neutral inner child, or our truthful inner child is maybe the better way to say that, in order to be honest with ourselves, and to be clean and vulnerable amidst some of the darker, force energies. Yeah, like, maybe if you're innocent enough, it doesn't affect you. Maybe if you're enlightened enough, it can't touch you, right? Like, I mean, these are some things that happen. Some of us are conveniently naive enough to bypass all kinds of strangeness just because we're accidentally in the right place at the right time, because we were willing to be authentic and listen to ourselves. So, the strengths really come from the listening and allowing you to be who you are, and allowing the world not to take that from you. Okay, like, allow the world not to take your essence from you, and give yourself the permission to stay close to your core and to your essence, to your divine essence. You are, so much of our divine essence gets stripped out of this world, and this is the point now when we cannot do that, right? We've been working up, I've watched this happen for years now, building to this point where we must walk forward in the essence of our light, and we must use it every day to make things happen for us. It does work, it can work. And And this is what you're being tasked with, the ability to kind of stop the dramas, stop the manipulation, stop the depletion, so that you can just kind of cut right through it, get involved in the things that are yours to get involved with, ignore the things that are not yours to get involved with. It just sounds a little hard, but you have no business not doing your business. You came here, Spirit trusted you to come here, inhabit a body temple in an uncertain world, and to shine in your own light. And I guess that's the message for the supermoon energies that have hit us this week, and that we're still reeling from one way or another. And just to make sure, we're going to just do one more poll and see, is there anything else we need to know going forward this week, this month? Yeah, stand in your power. Stand in the value of your truth. So we're materializing. We're bringing more of our heart to the earth plane. Okay, good. Right. So this is Ella Marie Francisco. Thanks for coming into my channel. It's always great to have you here. Please let me know how you're doing, and you can get in touch with me through the description if you need a reading or a little pep talk. All right. Thanks for coming in. Until we meet again, bye for now.